he afraid of? President Trump again today attacked the FBI and the U.S. justice system, battering the integrity of Robert Mueller's investigation into Russian-Trump collusion.
Well, it's a shame what's happened with the FBI, but we're going to rebuild the FBI. It'll be bigger and better than ever. But it is very sad when you look at those documents, and how they've done that is really, really disgraceful. And you have a lot of very angry people that are seeing it. It's a very sad thing to watch, I will tell you that. And I'm going today on behalf of the FBI, their new building. And you know, but when everybody, not me, when everybody, the level of anger at what they've been witnessing with respect to the FBI is certainly very sad. When you look at what's gone on with the FBI and with the Justice Department, people are very, very angry.
Well, this is getting uglier, isn't it? And this attack on the country's federal law enforcement came shortly before the president delivered remarks at FBI headquarters in Quantico, Virginia, praising law enforcement as people who, quote, rarely get the recognition they deserve. As Mueller's probe gets closer and closer to the Oval Office, however, Trump has stepped up his attack. He tweeted earlier this month, after years of Comey with the phony and dishonest Clinton investigation running the FBI, its reputation is in tatters. And many people in our country are asking what the Justice Department is going to do about the fact that totally crooked Hillary, after receiving a subpoena from the United States Congress, deleted and acid-watched 33,000 emails. No justice. The president's newest attack on Mueller's investigation references Peter Strzok. He's a former top counterintelligence official whom Mueller removed from his investigation last summer after Mueller learned of messages Strzok exchanged with another FBI employee that were overtly political. Many were critical of Trump and praised Hillary Clinton. One message he sent said, God, Hillary should win $100 million to nothing. Well, Republicans and conservatives in the media have used this development to impugn the entire Mueller investigation.
I call on my Republican colleagues to join me in calling for the firing of Bob Mueller. And look, it's time for Mueller to put up or shut up. If there's evidence of collusion with Russia, let's see it.
We are now beginning to better understand the magnitude of this insider bias on Mr. Mueller's team.
If one person can be persecuted by an instrument of the government at one standard and another one can't, what does that mean to all of us? Should we fear our FBI?
There is a cleansing needed in our FBI and Department of Justice. It needs to be cleansed of individuals who should not just be fired, but who need to be taken out in handcuffs.
Mueller is corrupt. The senior FBI is corrupt. The system is corrupt.
His conflicts of interest, his clear bias, the corruption are on full display. Mueller is frankly a disgrace to the American justice system.
For more, I'm joined by Joy Reid, host of AM Joy on MSNBC on weekends, Wall Street Journal White House reporter Eli Stokols, and former FBI Special Agent Frank Montoya. Joy, listening to this alarm bell from all these right-wingers and commentators and right-wing commentators, you would think they're ready for a military coup.
Yeah.
We have to disgrace, like the Greek generals or somewhere in Argentina, we have to disgrace the entire U.S. justice system to justify overthrowing it. Yeah. What's coming here?
Well, you know, that Washington Post story said that two of Donald Trump's favorite world leaders are Tayyip Erdogan of Turkey and Vladimir Putin. And it does seem that Donald Trump has the tools of authoritarianism down. He's got the dance of authoritarianism down to a science. Step one, claim the investigation of you is a fraud being conducted by enemies of the state. Step two, get your state-run media, your affinity media, to echo that into your base and whip them up into a frenzy against those investigating you. Step three, get the state party, in this case the Republican Party, to echo that from the seat of government and say, wait a minute, the people investigating the president are themselves criminals. Create this feedback loop that creates a feeding frenzy that has now essentially got Republicans claiming that Bob Mueller, probably the most respected member of law enforcement in the last 30, 40 years in the United States, essentially being characterized as a criminal. And then, of course, you got to add that last step. Call for the prosecution of your political enemies, in this case, dredging up Hillary Clinton to again call to lock her up. Donald Trump is an authoritarian of the first order, and he's behaving like one.
This is scorched earth, basically, Eli, and I'm wondering what he would have done if Mr. Mueller, Robert Mueller, hadn't fired that guy, Strzok, for having this sort of exchange with someone he's involved with romantically, and they're exchanging their similar political views, apparently. He fires the guy last July, and now the Trump crowd are saying that's evidence that Mueller's not just here. In fact, he's proving his just nature by firing the guy. What is it?
They would latch on to this either way, because what Donald Trump and even to a greater degree his allies outside the White House are doing right now. You played that montage of all the clips on Fox News. There are other Trump surrogates, people in the Bannon world, people who are not his legal team who are out there mounting a defense. And it's not a legal defense. It's a public relations defense. It's trying to get the public to discount whatever findings are coming from the Mueller probe to protect the president politically. You know, it's all about reality being sort of in the eye of the beholder, perception being reality. And there are a lot of people who are pushing this idea that the probe is a witch hunt, just as the president has said. The president's not doing it quite as brazenly as some of the people on Fox News, even though he is still out there every day saying that the FBI is in tatters. He might step back and say, oh, I just meant Comey. Oh, I'm just talking about these texts. He's not speaking specifically about Mueller, but this whole thing on the whole is about discrediting the Mueller probe and protecting him politically.
Let's talk timing and why now. Anyway, Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein defended Mueller at a House Judiciary Committee hearing this week. Let's watch him.
Have you seen good cause to fire Special Counsel Mueller?
No. I believe that based upon his reputation, his service, his patriotism, and his experience with the department and with the FBI, I believe he was an ideal choice for this task.
Well, let me go to Frank Montoya, because it looks like what Trump is doing and his allies, his amen chorus out there, is they're basically trying to impeach the U.S. judicial system in advance of something they see coming like a waterfall they're about to go over. So do you get a sense that this investigation by Mueller is reaching a point where they better destroy the prosecutors, or they'll get destroyed themselves? Is that the thinking on the Trump side of things?
There's definitely a great deal of fear that something is coming their way. And I think that when you look at what happened with Mike Flynn, that was a clarion bell as far as that warning is concerned. Another part of this, too, that is really frustrating to me is that there's 56 field offices out there. There's a bunch of people that are out in the field trying to do this job to the best of their abilities every single day. And so these attacks that we're hearing, whether they're from the president himself or from his surrogates, it's not just about the investigation against him that's being conducted by the special counsel that's problematic. It's about everything else that we're trying to do in the field. I mean, in terms of the amount of public trust that's being undermined right now, it really makes it difficult to do this job. But yeah, you know, what you're seeing is, and I've seen it hundreds of times in all kinds of investigations, is an individual who is fearful that the door is about to shut on him.
Well, do you think that works? I mean, somebody once said to me years ago when I came to Washington that they talk about defending the bureaucracy against the regular attacks on the bureaucracy by right-wingers. They said people don't do their best work when they're being dumped on. It was something like that. And my question is, does that enhance the anger and the ferocity of the FBI investigation, or demoralize it when somebody's dumping on it? Frank?
There's going to be some intensity there, absolutely, because it is a personal affront. But the other part of this is everybody recognizes if you can't prove the case, then you don't have a case. I mean, let's harken back to the email investigation. It was the same thing. There were folks that were really concerned about the behavior in terms of using the server. But if the evidence isn't there to make the case, then you ain't going to make the case. And folks, they learn to live with that, because that's the nation. That's the system that we live under. That's the rule of law. And what you do is you work harder to make that case if it's there, and if it's not, well, then you move on to the next thing.
When do you think Mueller will decide if he's got the case or not, whether to drop it against the president or go full bore for something that would set up an impeachment process? When do you think he'll decide?
Well, he's going full bore now, and so that is a great question in terms of what they have. In particular, what is Mike Flynn providing that can lead them to other subjects in terms of making this case? But another part of this consideration, we're in uncharted waters as far as the president's concerned. Are you going to bring charges in a court of law? Or are you going to write a report and then hope that Congress acts on it? There are, they've got some really smart brains, prosecutive brains working on this. The question is, what venue do they take it into next? That really is going to be interesting.
Yeah, I'm thinking about that too.